When I moved to Monterey, I was helping out at the SPCA for Monterey County, which is a wonderful shelter. And I noticed that their pictures, which were usually taken on intake, on the animal's worst day of their life.
So they're maybe a little bit scared, they're uncertain of the surroundings, they're in a new place, and so the photos didn't always come out the way that we would have wanted them to.
It was the animal's worst day of their life, and they were getting their mugshots, their intake photos right then.
It's not the shelter's fault that they don't have the resources to take good photos. A lot of shelters are tasked with big responsibilities.
One day we were having a event coming up at the shelter, and the photographer from the Monterey Bay Aquarium came up with his equipment. We set it up, we took the pictures of the animals, and we saw that they were brilliant.
That was showcased perfectly with little Rowan, the Yorkie Terrier mix that we posted on Facebook. That beautiful photo of her quirky personality just really spoke to the people, and we had an adopter within an hour of posting her on Facebook. That photo did the trick.
And we saw actually how simple it could be. So we tried to replicate that, and the aquarium was wonderful. They donated some equipment to us. They donated the strobe lights. They donated ideas. As we moved along and we got the system down to where we could take multiple animal pictures in a short period of time, and they were all just gorgeous pictures, we said we shouldn't just sit on that here at the SPCA. We should share that with other shelters. We thought the best way to do that would be to start a nonprofit.
So we go to shelters across the nation and we provide photo studios to the shelters so that by the time we leave, they know how to use it.
We talked about the mugshots are usually taken on the animal's worst day of their life. The intake shots are needed for the records. It's not the best picture to get on social media.
That first impression is really important because a lot of people are looking online to adopt. We want to give shelter animals that photo that sparks the potential love at first sight for adopters.
What will normally happen is we'll let the animal come into the shelter, get stabilized, get comfortable, know it's going to get fed. The volunteers will come around and play with it. And sometimes these same volunteers are the ones that are part of our photo team. In fact, the photo team is generally made up of 3 people. The picture taker. Now you notice I didn't call him a photographer because the system is so simple, because everything is static. The background is the same, the lights are the same. All we need to do is get the subjects in position. Well, here's where the animal wrangler comes in. The animal wrangler is the one that actually goes and gets the animal, makes it calm, talks to it quietly, and he's got a best friend. They put him on the stage, they get him ready for their role. It can be the director, the producer, and usually they've already been a shelter volunteer, so they know the animals already. They know how to speak to that animal, and the animal responds to them. And then the picture taker, who's already got the camera set up, the lights are set up, all he has to do is get it in position and then take the picture. And then the most important part is to look at the back of the camera. You didn't get a tail cut off or a paw cut off. And then the third member of that team is what we call the jester. And that's the person who stands behind the photographer and gets the animal's attention. The animal's already fallen in love with the wrangler, but now we want him to look right through the lens, right through the sensor, right into the heart of the potential adopter. These teams have huge bags of tricks to get the animals in position, to get the animals looking at the camera, to get that little tilt in the head, that we all love, that enduring look. Now, about 160 shelters have studios. Over 100,000 animals are getting better pictures every year.
It's wonderful that Shelter Art Foundation is able to train the wonderful volunteers to take these photos that are professional photos, professional quality photos, and they really showcase our pets, and we find wonderful adopters.
One of the ways we measure our success is when the adoption rates of the shelters that are just getting the system go up. And we've seen that in Louisiana, we've seen it in Florida, we've seen it in Georgia, we've seen it in California. In fact, in California, we had one shelter that went to a no-kill status because the pictures were being seen in Oregon and Washington. So another nonprofit actually took the animals from Central California and helped ship them up to Washington and Oregon, making the shelter here in California a no-kill shelter.
We've received a lot of positive feedback from the shelters that we've worked with, including Pug Nation. They've reported that on Facebook, they've tracked the amount of views that each photo has gotten before the photo workshop, and it usually averaged about 1,500 views per photo. And after the photo workshop, they started averaging about 3 times that amount, so about 5,000 views per post, which means more people viewing the image, resulting in more potential adopters visiting the shelter and taking animals home.
We love going to shelters. We love seeing the people get excited. We'd like to go to 5 shelters a week and help them. We can't do that right now because we don't have the funds. Unfortunately, we have to limit the number of shelters that we can go to because it does take a little bit of money. And what we're lacking is the funds to be able to do that as much as we'd like to, as much as the demand would like us to, as much as it's needed.
We're so grateful to have them as volunteers, and they do so much for us, and they're so dedicated, and we're grateful. We're so thankful to have them.